Well, we're excited to welcome Zack and Cambry Nelson to our podcast today. They are the creators of the NotAWheelChair, which is being used all over North America by people with disabilities to get off the pavement and deeper into nature. So I'm really happy to have you both here to talk to me. I'm excited I get to talk to you both. Can you give us kind of an overview of what the rig is and what inspired you to create this device? And I'll show some pictures too.
Yeah, so I met Cambry, like 4 years ago? We met on a dating app actually, and we started dating, and I realized pretty quickly that, if we ever wanted to go on a hike or something like that, a manual wheelchair is not good on gravel.
It's not really going to cut it.
And it's not good on dirt. It's not good on, grass. Fields even are really hard. So I started looking to off-road wheelchairs, and they're all like 20 grand, which is a little expensive when you're dating. And so I realized that if I could take two electric bikes and weld them together and make my own off-road wheelchair for like $3,000. And it worked pretty well. It needed a few adjustments. And then we made those and mass produced them, and that's where we're at.
So let's take a look at it. This is the product, what it actually looks like in its current form. I'm sure there were many versions ahead of this.
Yeah. So this is made mostly out of bike parts. So it has, a hub motor mounted between the bike wheels. And like the nice thing about having it made out of bike parts is that like everything is super inexpensive. If you need to replace it, like new tires are like $30, which if you're familiar with the wheelchair industry at all, it gets really expensive really quick. And so
you can find these parts locally too.
Yeah, like Amazon has most of them. So we try to make it as cheap as possible so people can get out as much as possible.
So what are people saying about it? What's the reception been in the community? I mean, what impact is it making? What are people able to do that they couldn't do before?
I like seeing our Instagram. I mean, it's just fun seeing like the pictures of places people can now go that they probably wouldn't have been able to get to otherwise. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I would say Instagram has been like the best route that we get to see everyone's experiences. And I know the first time I hopped on it, it really felt like liberating to be able to go into areas of nature that I hadn't in years. And so it's just really rewarding to see other people go on trails and see just gorgeous scenery from the NotAWheelChair instead of hanging out on pavement, like you said earlier.
Cambry, I wanted to ask you something. When I looked at your Instagram, something that struck me as a mom myself is pictures of you with your baby riding in the rig, and you have a special strap that I think he was younger at the time, but you would strap him to your body so he could face out. What was there like to be able to do something that so many parents just take for granted? Take your baby out for a stroll. Was that emotional?
It's been really interesting because I have had a lot of questions from friends that are also wheelchair users that became pregnant, and like I'm sad that I'm going to miss out on some of the things that other parents can do with their kids, and I just don't. I guess I'm not really aware of that anymore. Like we just find a way to do it. And I love that the rig is another way that like I can ride a bike with my kid. Obviously my kid's not riding a bike on his own, but like we're almost tandem riding a bike together, and we go on walks almost daily. And I don't know, you just find a way when you want it bad enough, figure it out.
Absolutely. So shifting over to kind of the business aspect of this, you all launched in June of 2020, so right around the beginning of the pandemic. Do you think that everybody being cooped up inside and having all the challenges that we all faced during that time affected the launch or the success of the product and business at all?
Quite a bit, actually. So, and kind of inadvertently, because everyone was, staying at home, everyone was going outside more often and buying bikes. And so there was a massive bike shortage as well as bike part shortage. And so that made our launch fairly difficult because it's made mostly from bike parts. And so we've been sold out basically, probably like 6 to 12 weeks of wait time for these machines until just barely recently, like a couple of weeks ago, where we finally caught up with all of the orders. So yeah, it did definitely affect the launch.
Now, are you still making them all yourself, or do you have a factory operation with folks putting them together there?
Good question. So we have Utah Trikes as our manufacturer, and they probably have 30 or 40 people here in Utah that are manufacturing these alongside other, trikes and bikes that they make themselves. And then we also have our own building, also here in Orem, Utah, where we're manufacturing other products that we plan on launching later this year.
Exciting. Looking forward to seeing about that. What would you say some challenges that you've faced? You mentioned the shortage of bike parts around the beginning of the pandemic because everybody was getting outside. Any other lessons learned as a business owner?
So I tested the first version out, and I feel like we tried to take it over a lot of different terrain, and we went through a lot of different versions. And I am an occupational therapist, and so I had some needs that I wanted to be met. I think the first real obstacle was, how do we make something as inexpensive as possible to fit a large group of people that all have very specific needs? And so we had to kind of come up with something that could help as many people as we could. And then with the idea of down the road, we would try and adapt more things and make it more friendly to other disabilities down the road. And so that's what we're kind of working on at the moment. But I think that was really hard for me because I just wanted everyone to enjoy it. And that's really hard to do, to fit every body type. So that was a struggle, I think. And then also when we were getting ready to launch it, we had a friend tested out that he's like a good 1.5 feet, maybe taller than me.
Yeah, he's like 6'4". He's a really big.
No, he's got to be taller than that. He's big, tall guy. And so he took it out and found some weaknesses.
Yeah, he broke 2 of them for us that we had to fix, but instead we went to that testing beforehand.
So yeah, that's what testing is for. Learns difficult and expensive lessons. Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit about where people can find you. I know you have a big Instagram presence, but tell us where people can learn more.
Yeah, so our website is where we have most of the stuff, just NotAWheelChair.com. And then we have some videos on YouTube of everything in action. And then later, either really late this year or early next year, we have a kids version of the rig that we're really excited about that we'll be launching as well.
Oh, that's going to be great. I can't wait to see that. Well, Zack Cambry, thank you so much for joining us today on the Experian Small Business Matters podcast. It was really good to talk to you. I look forward to following all your adventures with your beautiful photos on Instagram, and wish you greatest success.
Thank you.